Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Well, there will be no charges filed against a former Sarasota prosecutor who was involved in 2 separate crashes in the same night. The Herald Tribune reports 18 months ago, Jessie Weissman reportedly spent a day drinking at a pub crawl in PUNTA, GORDA before she was involved in the crashes. None of the deputies or troopers who responded administered any field sobriety tests, and a state trooper later gave her a ride home. But according to documents obtained by the paper from the FDLE, 2 law enforcement officers who were at the second crash site later told investigators they could smell alcohol on her breath and that she seemed impaired. The FDLE investigation was inconclusive. The investigation's findings will now be sent to the Florida Bar Association.
Ex-prosecutor won't be charged in late-night crashes. She was fired after spending a day drinking in Punta Gorda. Sarasota. No charges will be filed against former Sarasota prosecutor Jessie Weissman, who, 18 months ago, spent a day drinking at a pub crawl in Punta Gorda before she was involved in 2 crashes on her way home. None of the deputies or troopers who responded to Weissman's second crash, in which she struck a brick sign, administered any field sobriety tests, and a state trooper later gave her a ride home, raising the issue of preferential treatment. Now, according to documents obtained by the Herald Tribune from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, 2 law enforcement officers who were at the second crash site later told FDLE investigators that they could smell alcohol on Weissman's breath, and that she seemed impaired. They also reported their observations to the Florida Highway Patrol trooper in charge of investigating the second accident, although he later told the same FDLE investigators that he could not recall their comments about Weissman's impairment. The FDLE investigation, which focused on whether Weissman broke traffic laws and used her position as an assistant state attorney to avoid possible charges from the crash, was inconclusive. FDLE sent its findings to Assistant State Attorney Hannah Potter, a prosecutor in Florida's 10th Judicial Circuit, but she closed the case in August, months before the FDLE completed the investigation. An FDLE spokeswoman said the investigation was sent to Potter on December 13. Efforts to reach Weissman for comment were unsuccessful. The Tampa-based law firm where she worked after she was fired from her prosecutor job said she is no longer employed there. Potter also could not be reached for comment. Now that the FDLE investigation is complete, 2 additional investigations can start 18 months after the fact. FHP's Office of Inspector General will examine the actions of the state troopers, and the Florida Bar will examine Weissman's conduct. Pub crawl. Weissman had been drinking with Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies and other law enforcement officers on July 17, 2016, at a pub crawl in Punta Gorda. While the law enforcement officers arranged for rides with Uber drivers, Weissman attempted to drive herself home. While northbound on Interstate 75, the assistant state attorney was involved in 2 crashes. The first, which caused minor injuries to a family who claimed that Weissman rear-ended their van and then fled the scene at high speed, occurred on I-75 at about 1 a.m. The second was minutes later, after Weissman crashed into a brick sign at Fruitville and Cattleman Roads in Sarasota, disabling her car. Weissman told State Trooper Joshua Flo, a field training officer riding with a trainee, that she was being followed and attempting to get away from the van when she crashed. Carlo Thompson, who was riding in the rented Dodge Journey van with his cousin and other family members, told the Herald Tribune that he demanded that troopers ask Weissman to perform field sobriety tests at the second crash site, because she was drunk. The troopers refused his request, telling him Weissman showed no sign of impairment, so there was no need for any alcohol testing. While they waited for the troopers, Thompson saw Weissman get out of her car. He described her to the Herald Tribune as appearing drunk. 3 troopers, who arrived minutes later, did not activate their dashboard cameras, which would have recorded their interviews with Weissman and Thompson. Preferential treatment. Walt Zalisco, a retired police chief and police best practices expert who owns Fort Myers-based Global Investigative Group, said shortfalls in an otherwise normal DUI investigation amounted to nothing more than a case of he said, she said. Reports from the alleged victims and suspect accounts of what happened, and between law enforcement officers at the scene, provided significantly different stories about what occurred and what they observed, Potter said in her declination letter. She said the SAU interviewed law enforcement officers involved in the incident and subpoenaed records related to the case. Potter stated in the letter that there were concerns over the existence of damage to the rental vehicle in the alleged victim's possession. The rental company did not notice signs of collision, and after FDLE inspected the vehicle, it appeared to have a repositioned rear bumper. Potter said there was insufficient evidence to prove criminal conduct beyond a reasonable doubt. But Zelisko said it appeared that Florida state troopers handling the investigation failed to ask normal investigatory questions about a crash that a deputy witnessed. Since when do you have to have indicators to ask someone if they have been drinking? Zelisko said. It's a regular investigatory question, especially when you have an accident involved. Other people at the scene smelled alcohol. Why would you say that is unknown? FHP trainee Trooper Pete Delcos and Trooper Flo were assigned to investigate the crash. Neither told FDLE investigators that they saw signs Weissman was impaired or smelled alcohol. Zelisko questioned why a trainee and field training officer were tasked to investigate a high-profile suspect and why a state prosecutor would not call the police if they felt they were in danger. As a state attorney, if you see a car following you, you get on the phone and tell them I'm an assistant state attorney, someone is coming to get me, Zelisko said. We have no evidence she tried to do that. Zelisko said the scenario made it appear that she was trying to flee the first collision. When asked for her paperwork, Weissman produced her state attorney credentials. It's similar to what Zelisko remembers in his years as a sheriff. It is an implied request for an unspoken courtesy, the former chief said. I've had that a number of times, where you pull over a cop and right away they flash their badge, Zelisko said. I didn't ask for that, I asked for a driver's license. She definitely tried to get preferential treatment. The state troopers did not give Weissman a field sobriety test, they did not conduct a breath test, and they did not turn on a camera that would have recorded the incident and dispelled conflicts in the accounts. They created a situation where it was going to be a he said, she said incident and everybody is going to be giving conflicting testimony, Zelisko said. They failed to ask normal investigatory questions, or if they did they didn't include it, it could give the appearance of a cover-up. As a result, there was no clear-cut proof that Weissman committed a crime even after she was involved in the two late-night crashes. Ed Brodsky, the state attorney for Sarasota's 12th district, fired Weissman because of her drinking, and for bringing dishonor to his office. You exercised poor judgment by drinking and driving, Brodsky wrote in the July 19 termination letter. I am not convinced that alcohol did not contribute to your actions that evening. Brodsky, through his secretary, declined comment regarding the executive order to decline to prosecute Weissman. He deferred all questions to the 10th Judicial Circuit.
County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, you know, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, you know, at least I can do it. You know, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea, too, that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.